Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and the project that I'm working on now is making the wood underliner that you're gonna see when you go to the Mexican restaurant and you order fajitas, and that cast iron griddle comes out so hot that it's impossible to touch that. But there's always a piece of wood the griddle sits on. So what we're making actually is 50 of those underliners. So I'm satisfied with that, and all we're going to do now is start for the reel. We're going to start for reel right now, so let's do that. Let's just walk around the shop and turn the things on that we need to turn on. Operator error. Over here I'm good, where I'm pretty flat. But over here I think that board is just coming up. It makes a hell of a lot of dust. Some dust skirt is better than no dust skirt. Let's let it cut the rest of the ball nose and we'll inspect at the end. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, so all of the ball nose profile have run, and a couple of things. It looks really clean. A little bit of a ledge here. Not over here. Less here. Yeah, it must be something happening as we get down from 0 over to here. Not going to call foul on that just yet. So that's number one. It's nice to be able to look at the plywood in cross-section now with that ledge. And I do believe we're getting down deep enough for the veneer. But I'm probably going to experiment with taking that down deeper. And why I say that is because where the curve is actually starting, it's so indecipherable up here, I'll probably go a little deeper just to truly break the veneer, because as the bit's running this way, pushing versus it's the same sort of scenario, but I want to be able to break that veneer down just a little bit further. Because I want to minimize the amount of work that I have to do post machining. So I'm really happy with all of that. One thing that occurred to me is what I'm going to request from Shopbot is additional dust boots. I can't get my dust boot down any further, and I can't get my bit up any higher. So that's every bit of 1.25 inches. So I'm going to ask if they can make me a version of this with bristles that are simply about 1.5 inches longer, and that's the one I'm going to use when I'm using that bit, or if I'm using longer bits. And in fact, you really end up needing at least probably 3 different sizes. Standard, super long, and then super short. Because I'm really crushing the brush down when I'm running this 1/16 of an inch ball bit that's here. I'm crushing it down, and I spent a lot of time crushing it down as well on this custom ceiling tile project, because I used that bit How in the world do you get a square corner? Well, they're not truly square, but I made a tool path that was 3/8 by 3/8 or quarter by quarter, and all it did, 1/16 of an inch diameter, was go in and run that. So I've got a 32nd of an inch radius in there. And during, I mean, I need 100 of these, and this is just one rolling cart worth of my ceiling tiles. So it dawned on me, because I'm so epically lazy, I've got to now clean all this up. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to ask Shopbot for a custom boot. Then, and it'll be a separate project, I realized I need to make a tool path, and I haven't thought about how yet I'll do it. I need a vacuum tool path. So I'm going to create a tool path where it just goes down and just vacuums the top of all this. And that's going to be put at the end of everything that I run, because, I mean, with the proper boot, with the proper dust brush on here, you're not losing much at all. But I don't like to sweep. What else I have, before we move to looking at where we go from here, we got to move that reference point because we hit it with our tool, that dowel. We've got to work on the balance of where we are, because I know that when we flip it, it's not going to be where it needs to be. I'm probably good, that's 2. Number 3, I'm probably going to decrease my score by 25 thousandths. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try that ball, that 3/4 up spiral ball, in just one pass. Just go in and hammer it. The tool can handle it, the spindle can handle it. The material is absolutely held down with both dowels and 2 Becker pumps that are pulling 20, it was pulling 24 bar, I think. And that was the problem with that. The pumps were running, but I didn't close the valve. So literally this piece of plywood was bowed up. Now, this will still go to the client, but I'm probably going to make them an extra one or a couple of extra ones, because, hey, we got one and it's funny. Well, true, you ordered 50, I sent you 50 too. One of them is funny. We're stepping into the unknown now. I got to flip this tool over. I've got to flip this part over and start running those tool paths for the opposite side. Let's just move forward. Okay, don't let my capacity for being lazy astound you. I've got no tool in here, and I've got the dust boot on. And I'm at 0, 0. Let's do an MZ1. Let's just go to 1 on the Z. I sent it down to 96, and I'm super clean on one side. So I'm going to basically just run it and vacuum all that up. Anyway, let's move on. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. So I don't expect I'm going to be cutting anything else today, so I've turned everything off so that we can just get in V-carve, and let's make these tweaks that I think I'm going to need to make. And let's just see where the unknown takes us. So let's move on. Okay, so we're gonna make some sort of vacuum table, because I've got whatever 3,000 CFM of duct collectors there. Why not let them do the work? So I lost my reference points when I got really confused as to why in this two-sided environment things weren't working right. When I was flipping the material, it just wasn't flipping the way that I expected. And just out of desperation, what I thought to myself, well, let me at least move all the tool paths to the same face. I still have it set up as a two-sided file. And because the jury is still out as why I can't pick up my tools, just as an aside, Shopbot came back and said they're running out of ideas. Well, I tapped the shoulder of employee number 2 at Shopbot, Chris Burns, and I've got the best in the business on the case. So we're going to update that conversation when more information comes in. There's playoff baseball happening right now, and he's paying attention to that yesterday and today. So good for him. So we're still set up as a two-sided project, and I have 3 tool paths left to run to finish this. And what that is the V-bit on the bottom. Well, hold on. What I have is the logo on the bottom to run, and I'm looking forward to watching that run. I'm so looking forward to it. I want to just rush to that. But I need to do the logo before I go in and do the V-bit. Well, logo on the bottom. I need to do the V-bit profile, then I need to do the final profile cut. Final profile cut's going to leave some tabs for the obvious reason. So what I do want to do before I get into it, I do want to add some reference points because I remember what diameter I drilled and tomorrow I may not. So this guideline should be okay. Yeah, we don't have a guideline at 24 inch. Let's put one at 24, and that's where that is. And I'm quite positive that where this is coming from, it's coming from here. So the relationship of where I put the reference point came after the fact of what I did here. Now I wouldn't say an educated guess, I measured. If we went back and ran the tape, I measured. But what do we have here? What we need to have is our reference point right balanced in here. And these guidelines, they actually don't mean anything. But when I come here and come to here, I'm at 0.6939. When I come here and go to here, yeah, I'm at 0.55. That's why I'm off. 69 to 55, that's 140 thousandths. So this first sheet's going to be off. I don't think it's going to be a tragic fail, but it's obviously not how this is going to stand. So what's the issue? This guideline is at 24. This happens to be where I put the reference point vector, and that was a diameter of 0.395. I'm going to make it 0.394 at 5.8 and 24. And you know what, though? No, I don't care for that. Let's move it to 12. And the reason is, when the spindle finishes over here and comes back to 0, I want to move it out of the way. So let's apply. So here it is. Let's take another one and put it at 84. Apply. Okay, that moved it. 12. Apply. Let's take that one and let's move it to 84. 24. 0.394. Apply. So we've got a reference hole here, easier to see without the guidelines. One there, one there. Now it's out of the way. It's not going to hit anything. And then let's just create a tool path for this now since we're here. Shift, select. Yeah, they're both selected. Close this. Let's uncheck all of this. Our 2 vectors are still selected. And we did a pocket and we went 1.09 if you recall. 0.727 is my material thickness. 0.727 plus 0.375. I want to go into my spoil board 3/8 equal, and it does the calculation, 1.102. Select. This was bit 2, and that was an aluminum finishing bit. I'm good with that if you're good with that. That was a 1/4 inch. That's in tool 2. 1/4 inch aluminum. Yeah. Let's select. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.